And this is something I'd like to add and throw back at you. So when you're talking with your mission leaders, the border security agents for us in Customs and Border Patrol, try to explain them the value of NIEM without using some words. Don't use XML. Do not use NIEM. Do not use IEPD, right? Use things like, I can get you information faster, better, and I can save you time. I can increase your mission performance. And so I'm going to throw back at you that challenge, because I think that it's easy to say they don't understand my language. Therefore, I can't sell them the value of NIEM and information sharing. And I'm going to say back, you don't understand their language. And it's a very powerful conversation when you can start articulating about increasing their mission value. And we've started to move some of our data management in my day job, our data management community, and understanding that principle, and understanding and getting them to articulate drivers for mission improvement and talk about information sharing as it relates to that. Really, NIEM is the thing that makes it work better. They shouldn't have to know what it is, right? So we should be talking to them about information sharing as it relates to reduced risk, as it relates to better information in the decision-making process. Not, do you know what NIEM is and why aren't you using NIEM? Right, so a little bit back at you, and when you're talking about NIEM, try to find that way to talk about NIEM without saying IEPD.
Good advice.
One more question. Hopefully the lights coming down wasn't some kind of clue that we're supposed to quit. But just really expanding on your remarks a little bit, one of my questions was, kind of at the micro level now, whether I'm in industry or state, local government, federal government, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be an evangelist for NIEM in their organization?
Who wants to take that? He was our evangelist at Justice for a number of years, so I think Tremendra is a perfect evangelist. So tell us your secret.
The secret sauce. Cross-boundary information sharing is a critical issue. So many of the challenges we face as a society have to be tackled in a cross-boundary nature. When I came into the Department of Justice in 2005, law enforcement, homeland security, counterterrorism information sharing was a burning platform. How I got to be relevant inside the Department of Justice was by partnering with the state and locals, going outside, right, being able to give a voice to this requirement to be able to share, be able to bring that perspective back inside. It allowed me to move organizations. You know, as sitting at the department level, I was working a lot with the FBI, and being able to bring this perspective back was very powerful in terms of working with the FBI. You know, being able to bring them into NIEM, helping them understand the requirements. Now, they have a long history, of course, of working with state and local law enforcement, too, but I think this idea of recognizing that some of these key issues are cross-boundary, coming at it as a mission challenge, right, working with folks, existing governance structures, being able to bring that back in. And as Donna was saying and others, you don't need to necessarily get into all the technical details or the specifics of the schemas or things like that. It does come back to just folks have an implicit understanding of the need to work together, right? And so I think the key to the cross-boundary information sharing is the governance and bringing folks together, right? And that's a softer side of things.
I think one of the keys is to be the evangelist is you have to understand that there's multiple audiences, and hopefully the sell is not too hard, but it is difficult to communicate across those different audiences. And Donna alluded to it. You know, the technology speak. You got to be careful about that when you're trying to deal with the management level people, because sometimes we don't know all the details. I know you find that hard to imagine, but I think it is good to form a team. And if you're the lone wolf who's being the evangelist, convert a few, one real technical, one kind of glad hand kind of person who can really talk to anybody and help sell management executives. But the NIEM is a great story, and there's a lot of resources to leverage out of the NIEM PMO. So that would be my thought. It would be really don't, unless you're the Renaissance person who has all these, has the ability to talk at all levels, find a little team of really good technical people to work on the technical folks, and a really good, business person to work on the management folks.
Hello, my name is Joel Byford. I've been a consultant with the community for a number of years now, both in the GGXDM world and now in the NIEM world. And one thing that I personally, and I think a lot of us could say, have found exciting was really kind of how it started off with the Department of Justice, really driving it. All the levers, if you can think of, as far as driving NIEM, right? The lever of funding was there. The lever of policy was there. That was being driven there. And then likewise, it moved into Homeland Security, and seeing that happen, that was exciting to see. The question is really seeing that those different levers have been, used, both the grant funding lever as well as just, hey, if you're going to communicate with us federally, you got to use NIEM. What types of levers are kind of being put in place now for those new domains that we saw, introduced this last week? So such as the maritime and the human services. Are similar initiatives being taken, or is that something that hasn't yet started yet?
Well, I'll start off and then others can talk. I mean, I think one of our jobs as just after you have a good thing in government, part of our job is to share that. I mean, we're not competing against each other, we're trying to help each other. So just part of good government means that we need to devote some of our time to evangelizing and to working with others to share a good thing. That's not very easy to do sometimes, especially in government, because, surprise to all, governments are big bureaucracies, and they're very difficult to find the right people to talk to, and they're very difficult to get through the right doors and to actually connect with the right people, so it's very time-consuming. But it almost takes the evangelist kind of perspective, and fortunately we've had some. Global has been a great evangelist for us. Donna has been super in her role, being an evangelist for NIEM. Shamendra has been a tremendous evangelist for NIEM. So we've been fortunate enough to have people who are in those roles. We have to devote time to spreading it, and I think the effort that we put forth to work with DoD and to work out a good resolution with UCOR, I think is an example of the kinds of thing we have to be willing to step up to occasionally, in spite of the fact that they're very difficult to do. To be real frank, DoD is bigger than all of us. The rest of us, Department of Justice, Homeland Security combined, DoD is bigger and has more resources and has spent more time on data standards and things like, and spent more resources on data standards. But we thought we had something really good, and we wanted to make sure that we could share it with them, because we knew it was the right thing to do, and we knew that ultimately there were principles in common, and we could find common ground. So it just took a lot of time. I think we have to, and we do. I mean, we have to be very careful. We want to give value out of the NIEM PMO. We have this discussion all the time at our executive committee meetings. We want to provide value to our current users. That is key, because value is what's driven the success of NIEM. So we want to listen, we want to provide value, and we want to provide new capabilities. But we have carved out, and we continue to find time to, we have to devote some of our energies to broadening the base and broadening the scope and the domains of NIEM, and that's what we're committed to doing. And we continue to bring new people to the table, and even if they're not full members of NIEM, whatever member means, actually you contribute to our budget. But even if they're not full members, we invite people who are key interested parties to our executive committee meetings to learn and to become part of and understand what makes NIEM work, and also its how good a tool it is. So we work at it. It is part of what we're trying to do as part of the NIEM governance structure.
There's one more tool one more lever in the toolbox, and Dan just got to it, which is the success stories. As we have grown, the successes have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and they've gotten more cross-boundary, more moving away from public safety or deeper, and that's a really important aspect. And where we are now, I think, as a community, is that lever is probably the most important. Right? One of the things you find at OMB, we have lots of ability to do mandates and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's people want to do the right thing, and there's a burning platform issue about cross-boundary information sharing, and people see that it's successful in the law enforcement, homeland security space. They see these point examples that have come up in the healthcare space. It makes a big difference, and it allows folks to understand what's possible and to model that behavior.
On the theme of cross-border information sharing, where are we with a federated security model? Yeah, I mean, who's working in it, and when might a solution come out? And particularly the certification and accreditation. Once I build an information exchange, how can I get it certified that it is in fact secure?
Donna, I think perhaps you're better equipped to handle that. I mean, we have talked about the need and the desire to do this. I'm not sure exactly how far we are in our specific plans on how we're going to address it. But Donna, can you summarize where we have been and the discussions we've had?
Let me ask a clarifying question. Are you asking for the certification of a particular information exchange, or the certification of a system or between systems across international boundaries or across domain boundaries? Because there's a lot of ways we can answer this.
Yeah, it's probably more that at least in NIST standards, they tend to certify information systems, but in a distributed processing world, the problem is not the certification of the system, but the whole information exchange. So the apparatus for protecting the data as you distribute it around is just not in place, nor is the apparatus to do the certification. So changing the mind, coming up with a solution and then changing the mindset is kind of what I'm getting at. But I'm thinking just cross-organizational, but eventually we'll get cross-border.
So we've made some strides at I can talk about what we've done at DHS regarding driving the model of how we certify a system into driving a better model on how we certify a service, which then contains an information exchange. And so we've been working with our privacy office and with our chief security information office to drive a model for CNAing, kind of a tiered model for certification and accreditation, a process for certifying the bus and the controls you would have on the bus, and then the process for certifying a service on that bus. And so there would be different controls based on the data from that bus. And so I think we need to, as we evolve into federated queries and we evolve to what I talk about as data independence, we really need to start kind of certifying and understanding the controls as it gets closer and closer to the data, right? So data independence, data as it flies has enough information about what it is, about the security in it, and from that system, though, we are making progress in at least understanding that the old model of certifying a whole system is not necessarily the model we need today in the service-oriented architecture or way of doing business. If we did that, and it takes 6 months to certify every new service, we have just cut out all of the value of a service-oriented architecture and becoming agile and throwing out new services. So we are working towards a different model inside the Department of Homeland Security and moving towards that. And I offer that I'm hoping that similar conversations are happening across the other federal agencies.